Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I'm with you until around 5 o'clock. Literally, I just got out the coat right here. I just took it off, dropped it down right there. Whew, today been a long day. I've had a lot of stuff to do today, but I'm here. And I'm thankful that some of you have joined. Y'all know I got to start off by saying hello. Want to say hello, Robert Willis. Good afternoon. Preston in the house. Good afternoon, Preston. Got Erica in the house. Good afternoon, Erica. 3 YouTube comments to kick off the show. You can't beat that. Anthony in the house. Good afternoon. Anthony. Myosha in the house. Haters, mount up. Myosha in the house. Good afternoon, Myosha. Sierra. Got 3 haters in a row. Anthony, Myosha, Sierra. Man. Good afternoon to all of y'all. Yo, Underwood. Good afternoon. We got Benita in the house. Good afternoon, Benita. Valerie. Good afternoon, Valerie. Thank you for checking in. Regina in the house. What's up? Good afternoon. We got Tria representing Columbia Township. Good afternoon. David in the house. Checking in from rainy Westchester. Good afternoon. Daryl say, let's get it, E. I'm going to do my best. Dwayne in the house. Of course, he's representing Mount Airy. We got Blade in the house. He says, hey, buddy. What's up, Blade? He's another hater. But I think he like a real hater. he like try to be a double agent. Just know I see you, Blade. I see you. We got Benita in the house. Benita, don't forget to talk about Twin. Y'all keep reminding me because I got a few things I need to hit, but I definitely got to talk about Twin. Regina, she want to know what was the sci-fi music. It's just a little countdown. Let y'all know I'm on my way. Mary in the house. Good afternoon, Mary. Candy D in the house. Good afternoon, Candy. We got Andrea representing Gulf Manor. All right. Vincent, he's representing Landon. All right. Maria in the house representing North College Hill. Jack says, with the big black in here from Gulf Manor. All right. You're a hate magnet. I know I am. I don't understand. Oh, Mary says chats. Thank you. I don't forget to do that sometimes. Most times. All right. We got Carolyn in the house. Good afternoon. Phyllis, good afternoon. She want to shout out to Monica. All right. I guess you can't beat that. Blade says, I'm the real hater. I'm an admitted hater. There are certain things I hate. People who harm children. I hate that. And I hate people who harm children. I hate it. I am a hater. Pat. Good afternoon, Pat. LaDonna, she says, hey, LaDonna. Daryl want to know, what did Twin do? A few people asking, what did Twin do? We're going to talk about Twin in just a minute. And we got Pamela Kinney in the house, representing North Avondale. All right. Well, let's get started. I guess the world is coming to an end. Now. Apparently, everybody believes that because some of the cell phone companies had some issues, that is a sign that the world's coming to an end. I've heard a few people say it today. Ooh, the world they're not saying the world is coming to an end. But that's kind of what they're alluding to. And I'm like, look, something bad happened. It might be something that leads into something else. It might not be. It might just be something bad happened. told you the terrorists was coming. I told you the terrorists was coming. Really? That's how the terrorists came? The terrorists, their objective was to disrupt your phone service, or to disrupt a small portion of phone service on the morning of February 22nd. That was really that's the goal of the terrorists now? We gonna inconvenience the shit out of you. I didn't have no phone issues. So do that mean the terrorist is cool with me? Like, come on. It was a trial run. It was a trial run. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not jumping on the panic train. Oh, we need to get your bunker ready. Oh, get you some bottled water. Oh, get you that. Come on. The terrorists really stepped it down this time. Like, oh, let's blow up the World Trade Center and hit the Pentagon. Like, oh my goodness, we're gonna have them shook. All right. Like, yeah, we did that. What's the next thing we gonna do? We're gonna inconvenience a small percentage of them, and their phones are not gonna work for a short amount of time. Gotta get them. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that that's what's happening. And somebody go, no, you gonna see you wrong. I can't be wrong. Because all I'm saying is I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's not the case. I'm just not 100% bought into the fact that it is the case. Let me tell y'all a little story. When I worked for Radio 1, a few years ago, I don't remember how many years ago, it was a few years ago, they got hacked. Radio 1 got hacked. And like Radio 1 was virtually at a standstill. They were virtually at a standstill. And like very few of the music files worked. So they actually had to use CDs sometimes. And they didn't hardly have no CD players. So they had to go and real quick download some music. Like, you can download the hottest songs. But they couldn't run commercials. Because you can't just go online and download. Like, they hacked them. And I never got all of the details, of course. Because, me and Katie wasn't like that. But, yeah, they got hacked. And they said, hey, y'all either pay us whatever this amount of money is. And it wasn't just like Cincinnati. It was Radio 1, the entire Radio 1 network around the country. I don't know if they ended up hitting TV 1, but I think they did, even though that I can't say for sure. It was everything. Now, here's what I'll say. There were people who had like files on their local computers and stuff like that. Like, I didn't connect my computer to the network all the time. Sometimes I was doing stuff that I didn't want connected to the network. It's a whole story. That's another story for another day. But I didn't always have my computer connected to the network. So when the hack hit, my computer was cool because, I had unplugged that little network cable and I was good. I wasn't on the network at the time. And some other people weren't. So they were able to piece some stuff together. But yeah, they couldn't run. And I want to say this went on for like 2 weeks, maybe, where they literally, because they made the decision, we are not going to pay this ransom. We're just going to rebuild whatever it is that we have. And that's what they ended up doing, but it took them a good while to do it. And guess what? I didn't think the world was coming to an end. I just thought that's how technology is. People can get you. People can get you. And Radio One got. So I don't know, y'all might be overselling the world coming to an end piece. Y'all might be overselling. I told you the terrorists was coming. I told you the grid was getting ready to go down. The grid didn't go down. It didn't. This was just a test. They coming. They gonna get us. By the end of the year, the grid gonna go down. I don't know about that, y'all. Prepare yourself, just in case. Prepare yourself in case. Like that's a part of the reason. It's a small part of the reason why I try to figure out how to do a lot of different things. I can't say if like the electric grid goes down and all our communications are severed and like I said, we have no electricity, the water lines ain't working, and all the food is gone from the grocery store. I'm not 100% prepared to go live out in a cabin in the woods and be 100% self-sufficient to take me and Mrs. Livingston and my daughter and my granddaughter, and we just go huddle up at a cabin in the woods and live out the rest of our days. I'm not prepared to do that. But I think, if my network go down, I think somehow I'll be all right. If my cell phone wasn't working this morning, I would have still managed to make it through the day. I would have managed to make it through the day. I'm just saying, the terrorists, they coming. I told you yesterday the terrorists was about to, that an attack was imminent. Didn't I tell you that an attack was imminent? How are your devices looking now? They fine. My device wasn't affected at all. At all. Yeah, these are for real, like, messages and stuff that people sent me. Was that the imminent terrorist attack that we were supposed to be looking out for, that we were warned about yesterday? That Joe Biden didn't do anything? It happened on Joe Biden's watch. Uh-oh. If Trump had been in office, that slight inconvenience wouldn't have happened. It's a terrorist attack. Come on, y'all. Sometimes stuff happens. I don't have all the details about what happened. Don't give me the line. I heard somebody said something about a tower fell. I don't know if that's true. I heard somebody said something about a hack. I don't know if that's true. Of course, I heard it was a terrorist attack. I don't know if that's true. I really did hear the grid is going down. Told you the grid is going down. Somebody really did say that. I mean, if it happens, it happens. We got to deal with it, right? If I panic about it from now until December 31st, and then December 31st, the grid go down, I really just wasted a whole year panicking about something that I can't do nothing about anyway. I can't single-handedly stop the grid from going down. I can't. I wish I could. Give me a costume. I'm Cyberman. Dun, 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 dun. I'm here to stop the... No. So that's that. That's that. I don't really have much else to say about it. Like, something happened. Something happened. Some people, I guess, didn't have cell phone service. And I think most of those people's cell phone service has been restored. Ron says, I told you yesterday. Hold on, let me get where I can put it up. I don't want to be accused of nothing. I told you yesterday with the DOJ and the FBI told everybody else a terror attack is imminent. But you can tell everybody to not be worried about anything. Everything is everything because Joe Biden got it. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep. Something happened. People didn't have cell phone service. A lot of them got it back. I don't think Joe Biden had anything to do with it going down. And I don't think Joe Biden had anything to do with it coming back. Everything ain't a Joe Biden, Donald Trump thing. But it is a little funny to me to imagine Joe Biden up on some tower trying to fix something on a tower. He like 80-something years old. How did Joe get up there to fix it? But Joe fixed it. Well, but if Trump was in office, Trump would have fixed it faster. Everything is not Trump versus Biden. But speaking of Trump, you know, y'all know I like Wyatt Live. Y'all know I like Wyatt Live. And Wyatt, it wasn't like his topic today, but Wyatt was talking a little bit about Donald Trump and some of the legal problems that he's currently facing. And here's what I don't get. And I try to challenge Wyatt about it just a little bit. But I don't know if it's fair on one hand to say we all got choices. We all make choices. And sometimes you have to suffer the consequences of your choices. And then on the other hand say, well, he made those choices. And yeah, what he did technically might not, be within the bounds of the law. But I don't know that he should have to suffer those consequences for those choices, because everybody don't have to suffer the consequences for those choices. And to that, I would really only say, imagine me getting caught doing something illegal that everybody does. Like, y'all know, like I tell y'all, I don't use the fire stick, because the last thing I want is for them, that be the thing to take me down. But imagine I'm using the fire stick and the FBI come busting in, like, you know what I'm saying? You are violating the law. That's illegal. You are pirating, whatever. You watch this movie you're not allowed to watch. And I go to court, and my argument is, everybody else got a fire stick. Why y'all picking on me? What do you think people will say about that? What would people say if that's my defense? Yes, what I did is against the law. Yes, what I did is technically against the law. But y'all know how many people use fire sticks? Is that going to get me off? And our black people, who are sometimes a little harsh in terms of, black people being responsible. Are black people going to give me a pass because everybody else is doing it? Or are black people going to say, don't try to bring everybody else into it. You did it. You got caught. You pay the consequences for your choices. I don't think no black people, and I'm going to be like, but who did I hurt? I just watched some movies. Who did I hurt? Well, you didn't hurt nobody, but what you did was against the law. But everybody doing it. See, that's what's wrong with us now. We don't want to take responsibility for our own actions. They targeted me. Oh, now we want to blame the white man. Now we want to blame the white man. Who targeted you? Oh, the government targeting you. Oh, now you're a black man. You got caught doing something wrong, and now you want to blame the white man. Why don't you take responsibility for your own actions? Y'all know that's what people would say to me. I want us to be consistent. I know we not. I know the government is not. Ron says, that's typical New York business practices in real estate. It's typical practice for everybody to watch the fire stick. But if they want to get me on it, they could get me on it. And me saying everybody else do it don't make it okay. Everybody else do it. That's really what y'all saying. When y'all say that, it's typical business practice. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. That's what y'all saying. Why am I getting in trouble? Everybody do it. Why are you picking on me? And you can take so much of this stuff, right? Like, let's look at Fonnie Willis. I'm not about to talk about Fonnie Willis. We talked about that. But let's look at the way some people are talking about Fonnie Willis. Didn't we know if you come for Donald Trump, you got to have your ducks in a row and you got to be clean? We all knew that. So if there's any cracks in the armor, it's gonna be exploited and they gonna come for you. Who didn't say that? Who didn't say that? Everybody knew it. It's just something that you know. If you come in for certain powerful people, you can't have no skeletons in that closet. You got to be on the up and up. You got to watch what you do, watch what you say, watch how you move, all that kind of stuff. Because if they find a reason and a way to come for you, they're going to come for you. Who didn't know that? Well, they're coming for her now. But she could easily say, I'm not the first person to ever sleep with somebody that I later hired. I'm not the first person to let my personal relationship influence my professional relationship. Everybody do it. No, we looking at her and we saying to her, rightfully so, don't come talking about they targeting you. Because you should have knew when you first decided to make this move that you were going to be under heavy scrutiny. You should have known that. You should have known that. Why that same thing don't apply to everybody else? When you decided to run for president, you should have known you had to be on top of everything. And if you decided to do some things illegal in the past, you got to know it's a chance that can come up. Oh, but it's political. So? What's happening with Fonnie is political. No, she broke the law. So did he. It applies to everybody. I think it's a little hypocritical to say, well, the law should apply to Fonnie. The law should apply to politicians. The law should apply to everybody. Well, what about Donald Trump? Well, everybody do that. That's not, come on, everybody do it. So look, some people get caught, some people don't. But and it's interesting because I want to say, I want to see the same energy when it comes to other people who get caught doing stuff that everybody do. But we already seeing different energy. Now look, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I understand that unfair things happen, and I'm against them. I'm against them. I really am, for the most part, a believer. Don't break the law. Don't break the law. And you don't have to worry about getting caught. And then you don't have to worry about people saying, well, it don't matter that everybody do it. You got caught. But I also understand, sometimes things do become just the norm. And it may be outside of the letter of the law. But it's kind of the way we get down. I guess what I'm saying is, you can do whatever you want to do. But I think it's a little hypocritical. It's a little hypocritical to say everybody should be held accountable for their own actions, for the most part, unless I like you. And I'm telling y'all, everybody do it is not that don't go in court. That is not a good legal defense. It's just not. But what about the economic impact that his businesses have on the community? What about it? What about it? So if you're wealthy, you should be able to break the law, and let's overlook it because of the economic. Don't we have enough of that? I hate when I see that. Now, again, let me be honest. Is Donald Trump being targeted? Absolutely. Absolutely. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is being targeted. There probably are thousands upon thousands of people doing the exact same thing that he's doing. He's being targeted. He's being targeted. No doubt about it. But they can't target you if you don't do nothing. Well, I guess technically they could. Technically they could. Like them dudes who went to jail for, killing Malcolm X when they didn't do nothing. They can. But that's not the case here. He did something. He's been targeted because you put yourself out there. But people get targeted all the time, and it's never an appropriate excuse that, well, everybody does it. That's never a good legal excuse to do something. You got caught. Suck it up. And all your fanboys should suck it up too. Hold him to the same standard that you hold everybody else to. Hold him to the same standard that you hold black people to. Hold him to that standard. If a young black male did it, how would you respond to him? That's how you should be responding to him and to her. Young, poor black male did it. Are you accepting everybody does it? No. You want them to be held accountable. You should be cheering this. You should be cheering this. Like, yes, this is the law in action, holding people accountable, even though they got money. Let me see what else. Anthony says, you're asking for too much, E. They can't stand by and watch their great orange messiah take an L like that. Look, y'all, some of y'all don't believe me. I got nothing personal against Donald Trump. I'm not, you know what I'm saying, a part of his, little fan club. I believe wholeheartedly the dude is a liar. Like, I don't, trust virtually anything that come out of his mouth. He lied about stuff. We watched him say something, and then he turned around and say, I didn't say that. You can't trust that type of person. But I'm also a realist, you know what I'm saying? People do get targeted. People get targeted. So, and Jack, I don't even know what that means. You know the Bible isn't infallible, but you still read it. Okay. I know Wikipedia ain't infallible either, and I read that. What's your point you're trying to make? Oh, he said talk to text. Okay. I respect that. Sometimes the talk to text be messing up. Let me talk about Twin real quick. I would really love it for Twin to be here to hear what I had to say. But I want to be clear about something. I heard it, last week or week before last? But again, I've been hearing it my whole life. And then, I said what I said. And then Twin calls in and Twin says I'm a hater. And he's basically calling everybody that he can think of to say that I'm a hater. Because of this simple position. If we gonna honor people, elevate people, why can't we elevate some like regular people who went through their lives, tried to make the best choices that they could make, never got arrested? So I'm clearly not talking about me. I'm not in that group. Never got arrested. Never intentionally went out of their way to break the law and or violate other people. People who, fought against odds and stayed on the positive side and became successful. As opposed to, say, oh, he's a former gang member. Oh, he's a former drug dealer. Oh, he's a, former this or a former that. We elevate, by we, I don't mean everyone, but our society. We elevate people, and a part of me understands why. We elevate people who made mistakes and then reformed themselves. And I'm okay with that to a certain degree. But we shouldn't elevate those people, especially in the eyes of young people, over people who decided to try to do everything the right way. I think that sends a horrible message to young people. And look, and again, look, I understand some people trying to figure out the best way to say it. If you've made bad decisions and got yourself on the right path, that's admirable. So I'm not saying you should be treated as some sort of a pariah for your entire life because you made a bad decision at some point during your life. But again, for me, it's more about the message to young people. Young people some of that stuff don't register to them. And if I see you elevating, oh, he was in a gang. Oh, he sold drugs. Oh, he shot people. Oh, he this. Oh, he that. But what about that guy? He a square. What do you mean he a square? He ain't never been in a gang. He ain't never sold no drug. He never killed nobody. Who is he? Who is he? He ain't nobody for me to listen to, but he did everything the right way and he's successful. I won't listen to him. What are you really encouraging those young people to do? You're encouraging them to maybe take a step in that not so good direction. Because it's fine if you do, because you can go out there, you can be in a gang, you can sell drugs, you can kill people, you can do anything you want to do, and then one day you can come back and be elevated. And I tell y'all something about me. You know, my father is a minister, a Baptist minister. Raised, you know, I was about to say raised in the church, but I wasn't raised in the church. We went to church through my childhood. Pops was a pastor of a church and the whole nine. And y'all don't know how many times I heard the story of the prodigal son. And I've always hated that story. I've always hated that story. And no matter how many times people try to explain why that's a good story, I'm like, that is not a good story. But you don't understand the message behind the story. I understand there's this thing that people call unintended consequences, where you do something and you really mean it to be good, but there's a consequence of it that's negative, and it wasn't your choice for that negative thing to happen. It was an unintended consequence of whatever it was that you did, that you try to mean for good. That's the way I've always looked at the prodigal son story. Because the message as a kid, and again, that's mainly what I'm talking about, young people. The message that I got from that as a young person is that it's all right to do bad, because you can do as much bad as you want, and you'll always be able to come back and end up with the same thing that everybody who chose to do good did. Matter of fact, you will be celebrated above the people who choose to do good. I never liked that story. And again, I'm not saying that there's not something to be said for somebody who did make bad choices and then come around and change their wicked ways and decide to do right. That should be celebrated, but not above people who just chose to do right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you say we don't celebrate them all the same because they all doing right now, I would be even cool with that. But that's not what I see happen all the time. I see them elevated above people, not because they're doing right, but because they used to do bad. And it bothers me. It bothers me. So, twin, if you ever see this, I'm not being a hater. Bro, look, people who made bad decisions and got their lives back together, because I realize that's probably hard. I mean, I've made a bad decision or two and had to, come back from it. change my ways and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not even saying that, again, I'm not saying don't celebrate them. I'm saying don't elevate them above people who made better choices their entire life. And it's not for the people who made better choices. It's for the young people who are watching all of the people. That's what it's for. So I celebrate you. I'm glad you're doing whatever you're doing. And, if it's positive, yes, good job. Where are these fireworks coming from? I had both fingers up here. Yes, good. Maybe that's it. There's some sort of trigger on here that when I do certain things, it'll do fireworks. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to give it like 30 seconds. And I'm going to try it again. I think I figured it out. There is something on this. It's got to be a setting in here. And I have to go in and find it and delete it or whatever. But I'm going to try it again. I'm going to do the same yes thing with the thumbs up and see if the fireworks happen again. This is some artificial intelligence type stuff happening to totally derail what I was saying. But this gotta be some artificial intelligence. Yeah, it's raining outside and there's a retaining wall. I'm sorry, I see Daryl Carpenter. It's raining outside and there's a retaining wall, and so there's a pipe that comes down. So, as the water runs down, it runs through that pipe and it hits the ground. Then it goes into the drain. But it's the retaining wall from the next door neighbor's house. All right, y'all ready? I'm going to try this again. Yes! Good job! It didn't work. I thought that was it. I'm going to try it again. And so, okay, and I'm glad that you're doing whatever it is that you do. You changed your heart. You changed your mind. Yes! Good job! No. I thought that was it. I thought that was it. It did it twice. I don't know where those daggone fireworks are coming from. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. This is just, I'm totally distracted and derailed. Oh no. Okay, I'm trying to look it up. I'm trying to look it up, but I don't see why it's doing it. Oh boy. I'm sorry, y'all. It's got to be some sort of artificial intelligence here. But whatever it is, great job. Yes. It didn't work. It did it twice. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, if you did go about it and you did change your life, great. Good for you. And I wish you the best. But I don't think you should be elevated above other people simply because you did some bad stuff in your life. Sends a wrong message to the kids. All right. I think that's it. I think that's it for that. Y'all don't have to believe me, but I promise I had nothing to do with those fireworks. And she's sitting over there. The little baby is sitting over there. but she ain't doing nothing to make them fireworks go off. I have no idea what's going on with them fireworks. I have no idea what's going on with them fireworks. Do I need to change the batteries in here? Blade says I sound like a hater. In what way, Blade? In what way? Let me see what else is going on. I did watch like in 2019. I remember there was a special. There was a show. I think it was on Netflix. Who Killed Malcolm X? And y'all remember that? Anybody remember that show? They produced it in 2019. I watched it back then, and I walked away mad. I was not. Sorry, Regina. I was not playing any sci-fi music. That's just a countdown. It's just a countdown. But yeah, I watched it, and they pretty much said definitively who killed Malcolm X. They knew who the people were. They had names. They knew their addresses, everything, and they just let them live out the rest of their lives while two people went to jail who had nothing to do with it, and all that kind of stuff. That's when I started disliking Cory Booker, because I watched that show, and like literally they said like everyone in New Jersey. Like I'm trying to remember. They interviewed like current members of like the New Jersey legislature and all that kind of stuff, and like literally everybody knew. I don't remember his name, so I can't say it. But everybody knew that whoever 15X or whatever, he did it, and this other dude did it. Everybody knew. Like it was, I think they interviewed like the lieutenant governor. And, and she's like, oh yeah, so and so did it. Yeah, so and so did it. Yeah. He was the gunman. Yeah, everybody know. Everybody know that. They got to Cory Booker. Like, did you know that there's a rumor that whoever 15X did it? And he's like, really? I've never heard that before. In that moment, I stopped liking Cory Booker. Because if everybody in New Jersey know who did it, Cory Booker know who did it. And for him to be front, and it wasn't even a good lie. It wasn't even a good lie. Like, his face told on him. I was like, I don't like that dude. So I haven't supported him since watching that show. Anyway, there's I'm going to call it like a follow-up. And I want to say it was on Disney Plus. There's a follow-up to that. Because clearly, the guys got out. And, they're trying to get them money and all of that kind of stuff. But it was a pretty good show. I enjoyed watching the show. And of course, with all of this stuff, you realize how corrupt the government and our governmental state and national, federal governmental agencies were and probably still are. How do you, I know how, of course, it's like a rhetorical question, but how do you watch two innocent men go to jail for 20 plus years? And you know it, and you're supposed to be in charge of the FBI, and you're watching this stuff go down. How? I honestly, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it. No, you know what I'm saying? You give me the right amount of money. You never know what I might do for the right amount of money. I don't know what that amount of money is. It would be like a huge amount of money, I would imagine. But I don't know that I have a price to send two innocent men to prison for 20 something years. I would have to say, I think I would have to say something. And I kind of, I respect that. So I'm not saying I respect the brother who was a part of it, but I respect that the brother who was a part of it from the beginning said, them two brothers didn't have nothing to do with this. They didn't have anything to do with it. And then later on, he even wrote out, here is the names of the people who had something to do with it. They were still alive. Here are the names of the people who actually had something to do with it. Laid out the whole plan for them. But even before he did that, when they go back, because you know, FBI records become public record. Well, they are public record, but they get released at a certain time. And when they released a lot of those records surrounding the death of Malcolm X, they knew, like, it was in FBI files. At that time, the FBI said, here's the three people who did it. This is who they are. This is their description. This is where they live. This is them. The FBI knew that at the time. And just sat on it and watched two innocent people go to jail for over 20 years. If you ask me, that's kind of evil. That's kind of evil. And then people wonder why people don't trust government and governmental agencies. But I watched that last night. I went to bed kind of mad again. Every time I watch stuff like that, I get mad. But I have to keep watching it. Daryl says the actual shooter, plural, did it in an auditorium full of people who were witnesses, and the shooter sat in the front row during Malcolm's speech. Yeah, they sat there. I mean, he didn't get an opportunity to really give a speech. And I don't know why. I guess I just didn't think of it. They were recording. So there's audio recording of him being assassinated. The actual audio, assalamu alaikum, and you know, you hear a little bit of commotion, and then hey, everybody calm down, and then pop. It's all on the. You can probably just go online and find that audio. And I didn't hear it until last night. I never thought to look for that, you know, anything like that. But yeah, I watched it. I was not. I guess I wasn't mad, but I was disturbed by it. And when I watch stuff like that, it's like it makes me trust the system less. Lamont said, hey, get your hand out of my pocket. I don't think that was actually, as I'm trying to play back in my head the video, maybe you couldn't hear that part. But I think that was more of a Hollywood thing. The hey, get your hands out of my pocket. I think that was more of a Hollywood thing with the Denzel Washington movie. But I'm not sure. It might have actually been said. I didn't hear it on the recording. But again, at the same time, I didn't sit down and study and enhance the audio and all of that kind of stuff. Daryl says, what's the name so I can watch it later here at work? Oh, I don't know. Again, I had just finished watching an episode of that terrible National Geographic show, the MLK X Genius thing. I had just finished watching another episode of that terrible, terrible show. And it was on Disney Plus. But I don't know. Lamont says it actually happened. So you heard audio of people saying, "Get your hand out my pocket," when you listened to the audio of the assassination of Malcolm X? That's what you're telling me? You actually heard that in the audio that of the actual assassination, Lamont? Carolyn says, that's how I was last weekend, Emmanuel, after watching BitCon on Netflix. I haven't heard of that. Maybe I'll go back and watch it. I went to bed pissed. I mean, mad as hell. All right. Well, Lamont says he actually heard the audio of someone saying, "Get your hand out of my pocket." So if he heard it, I'll take your word for it. If you say you heard it, then that was what was said. Blade says Martin Luther King assassination was on film too, buddy. All right. Just a lot of independent clauses or portions of sentencing and whatever. Thank you for saying that. If you could put it all together in some sort of a coherent thought, I would appreciate it. Shreya say he ain't heard shit. I don't know if that's true. If the man say he heard it, I gotta take the man's word that he heard it. If the man say he heard it, I just take his word. I'm gonna go back and listen. I'm gonna go back and listen. And I have a few tools here that I can record it and enhance it. So I'm gonna go back and listen. And if I hear it, I'm going to play it. If I hear it, I'm going to play it. Now, if I don't hear it, then I might not believe everything Lamont say and take his word for stuff from here on. Blade says, just say what I said, damn. I said what you said, the way you wrote it. Let me go and look at it again. I'm going to read this the way you wrote it. Martin Luther King assassination was on film too, buddy. That's what you said. That's what you wrote. Be mad at me because you can't write right. Lamont says, Emmanuel, I was in the nation for 7 years. And just because you was in the nation for 7 years don't mean that you heard that on the audio. Now, again, I'm taking your word for it, but being in the nation for 7 years doesn't mean you hear better than anybody else. But I'm taking your word for it. You don't have to defend it to me. But being in the nation for 7 years don't give you any more credibility in terms of what was heard on a tape. And I believe it was an actual tape. Now you mad. Okay, Twister, you right. Well, I gotta be Twister. I didn't twist anything. I take your word for it. Why can't people take the win? I'm not doubting you. Tria might be doubting you, but I'm not doubting you. Don't get mad at me because I'm not doubting you, but because you being in the nation doesn't bolster what I already took your word for. Well, I gotta be Twister and all that kind of stuff. Dang. You just... Ron says, I'm being extremely obnoxious today. Okay. I haven't done anything obnoxious to anyone. I don't think there's anyone in here who can challenge anything that I've said today. Because I'm really just stating either things that are factual or things that are my opinion. Myosha says, OS, you just went out and then I heard someone count 1, 2, 3, 4. What's going on with these phones today? Did that happen for anyone else? Did that happen for anyone else? Vincent says, look up the audio. We have time. Hold on, let me see if I can find that audio. Lamont, we about to prove you right. Maybe. And I'm saying maybe because I don't have time to go in and enhance stuff. So we'll see.
And I pray that you and I will listen, hear, and understand. Thank you. Salam alaikum.
Okay, I might have heard something. Hold on. I don't... Play one more time.
Salam alaikum.
Okay, I think I heard it. Lamont was dead on. I think I heard it. So that being in the nation for 7 years really made your ears better. No, you heard it. And like I said, I took your word for it, and I heard it too. So, yeah. I heard something about pocket. I can't say with 100% certainty that he said, get your hand out my pocket. But that sound pretty close. I could give it to you. See, that's why when I don't know, Lamont, I took your word for it. I had no reason to not believe you. You still didn't bolster your argument that you were in the nation for 7 years. But I took your word for it. Oh, no. I got a call coming in. Okay, answer. CK.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Livingston?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, I heard it. I heard he said, get your hand out my pocket, N-word. A. With the A.
With the A.
I heard it, man. So you said you thought it was a myth that they said that all of years?
Well, I thought that was kind of Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. That's
I thought it was maybe Hollywood. I wasn't. I never actually heard the audio until last night.
But do you think that's a good way to execute a hit? To get it with the distraction, or just go right up and shoot?
I don't think there is a good way to execute a hit. People should not be executing hits.
No, what I'm saying, I'm talking about what you mean they shouldn't be executing shooters? You got a target, you got to eliminate the threat.
No, you don't. You don't have to have a target.
Hold up.
I will not now or ever. I don't think I will ever endorse killing somebody.
in some situations, people have to be eliminated. You know
I
this,
will
sir.
endorse defending yourself, but there's a difference between defending yourself and going out and carrying out a hit. I would never endorse going out and murdering somebody. I won't do it.
Listen, I know you on the other side, but you got to remember, if you come for the king, you best not miss. You know what I mean? Because then the king gonna come for you. If you go for the king, you bet not miss. You only get one shot. If he would have missed that shot on JFK, JFK still be live today. Dr. King still be breathing today if they missed that shot on the balcony. Remember?
But I don't endorse either of those.
Well, if you need to listen, if you take out the wickedness, you know what I mean, you could save the good. You letting these wickedness, that's what's wrong. You're not endorsing, you're not killing the people that need to be killed. So they come around and kill your ass.
So you think Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were the wickedness?
No, hell no. They enemies out there. No, they was on our side. I was on their team, but I'm saying, what if they, you know what I'm saying? If they was executing the hit. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If they would have took out the right people, all right, say who was the guy, the FBI guy? The cross dresser.
J. Edgar Hoover.
There it is. You go for the head. If you take his ass out, boom. You ain't got no dead Malcolm X and no dead Dr. King.
That's probably not true.
You stop the movement.
No, that's probably not true. You take him out, there'll be somebody else to take his place. It'll probably be even worse because now you've given them an excuse to call you a danger, which they were already calling you. But now they can say they assassinated the head of the FBI. So now they definitely had to be taken out. And I think things would have been so much worse.
Well, thank you for proving my point, sir. Because who took Malcolm X and Martin Luther King place after they was murdered? Who took their place? Nobody. Fear kept kings out of their place because they know they could be murdered. See what I mean? We haven't had nobody on their level since then. For 40 years, 50 years.
Well, let me say, I don't agree with you. I think what happens is it's kind of complex. But this is my opinion. That's why I didn't say you're wrong. I said I don't agree with you. But the way that I see it is times were changing even then. And to attempt to get somebody to capture the minds and the hearts of people in the way that somebody else did it. Like, no, Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King. Okay? And you're not gonna just manufacture another Martin Luther King. So to say, well, nobody, there were people who attempted and did and still do speak out against injustice and organize and all of that kind of stuff. But sometimes there's a certain something about a certain person that captures the hearts and minds of the people. So I could stand up and say the exact same words that Dr. Martin Luther King said and try to mimic his cadence and all that kind of stuff. And y'all know I could. I'm really good at it. And it still wouldn't capture the hearts and the minds of the people because I'm not him. There was something, I believe that there are people who are put in place for a certain thing at a certain time. And nobody else can be who they are and do what they do because that is what they are designed and destined to do.
Divine.
I believe so. Yeah.
But you got to remember, if Emanuel Livingston, the king of talk, was running the bus boycott, he would be the only one still boycotting the bus. Everybody back on the bus. Then Emanuel Livingston, he the only one still not riding the bus. Well, they tell you like, damn, you need to get on the bus. That's what happened in real life. Well, you did the same thing that King did.
Again, kind of case in point, Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks wasn't the first person. Rosa Parks wasn't even the first person, I believe, that they attempted to get that movement started with. And when I say started, that it's complicated, of course. I'm oversimplifying a little bit. But there were other people who refused to give up their seat. But there was some strategy in place. That the person had to be a certain way, had to look a certain way, had to be able to carry themselves a certain way, because she had to be able to be looked at and accepted by a greater number of people. And so when this lady did it, it didn't do anything. She had the same amount of courage as Rosa Parks had. She did the same thing that Rosa Parks did. She, was just as honorable and all of that kind of stuff. But she wasn't Rosa Parks. So there are certain people who I genuinely believe there are people who, some of it is strategic and some of it I believe is kind of divinely placed in positions to do whatever the thing is. So to say, if I was running the bus boycott, it might have never got off the ground. I could have had Rosa do what she did and got attention, and I got up and said what Martin said, and they'd be like, look at this dude. No, look at his hairline. You know what I'm saying? We not listening to this dude. No, thank you. Certain people just have, that X factor.
Yeah, but you got to understand what they adversaries did to X and King was they successfully crippled the black community with those executions. So they succeeded in doing what they wanted to do.
Well, yeah, but you said that no other leader stepped up to do what they did. And that's why I'm arguing other people did step up to do what they did, but they weren't them. And you're not gonna, like, if something happened to Beyonce tomorrow, I could find some random chick who could sing better than Beyonce to do the same songs. They ain't gonna sell the same amount of records as Beyonce. Beyonce has it, whatever it is. She has it. It's not just with singers and entertainers and actors. It's civil rights leaders, and there's something about a person that captures people. That's what that indistinguishable, undetermined factor, that it factor is. Martin Luther King had it. Jesse, not so much.
Yep. But to your point, I'm just going back to your original point where you don't believe in executing hits on people. I'm saying that they succeeded at where I think if they was just as ruthless as their adversaries, they might have lived longer. You know what I mean? You have the same philosophy as X and Martin Luther. I don't believe they believed in pulling hits either, but you see where that got them. And remember when they murdered King, his brother said, forget that, let's get violent. Because, he is like, this is not working. So that's what I'm saying. The philosophy of the nonviolent approach, you got to understand, this is America. You can't go nonviolent in a violent war.
I don't know I don't know that that's true. I think you have to tailor whatever it is you're doing for the time and the place. They say, to everything there's a season, and that was the season for that at that time. You never know. Somebody else might come with something very similar, and it might be the time and season for it then. Maybe just not right now.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like, I'm just saying they succeeded in crippling us with taking those people's lives. And by you saying that hits don't get you nowhere, it didn't get us nowhere because we on the losing end of it. You got to understand you're on the losing team. But look at the winning team. Look how they prospered with the deaths. Look at the white team. They prospered with their deaths. We didn't. We faltered. We failed.
Again, I don't necessarily agree with you, but you got a right to have a different opinion than mine.
Oh, you don't think we failed as a people with their deaths?
No.
You think we succeeded?
We still here, bro. We still here. We're still making strides. Failure would be something other than being who we are and continuing to fight and advocate for justice and equality and whatever. As a people, We are not failures. I can't allow that to be put out there. Black people, we are not failures.
Okay, I see what you mean. You giving me a different look at it, but you saying just because we lost those guys don't mean that we failed as a community.
Correct. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but you know how you right. I mean, you right because I'm taking it a little too hard, but listening to you right, they died honorable men, but that's the way I looked at it. Like they deaths crippled us as a people.
Their deaths
Losing
hurt.
somebody that powerful.
Their deaths hurt. It hurt us. I mean, I wasn't even alive when Martin Luther King or Malcolm X was killed, and I see it and I
39.
read about it.
It was 39.
And it still hurts me to this day. And I never saw them live, heard them live, any of that kind of stuff. So it hurts. It might have, stopped a little something somewhere, but kind of to the point that you were making, you said nobody stepped up. I think we as people should stop looking for a person to step up. And if we just all do what we supposed to do and do the best we can to help other people, then we keep progressing.
And the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is it's not worth a movement is not worth leaving your children behind. You know what I mean? It's not enough movement is worth him. Them kids grew up and they start fighting over the money. Remember, you can't leave your kids nothing. You need to be there with your children. So with just them losing their father, crippled, their family, the children. You know what I mean? And tore them apart.
I'm sure
you know what I mean?
But I don't understand the point that you're making. Are you saying? And I'm going to ask it in a question form, and then you can answer. Are you saying that no one should be dedicated enough to a movement to put their life in jeopardy if they have children?
Yes. So you're right. You're right. That's what I'm saying because of looking at the outcome, looking at the whole trajectory from that day to now, from 67 to 2024. I don't think it's worth what you're doing to your personal family. Your home. You don't want to. So you're gonna sacrifice your home for the world? Would you do that right now?
Absolutely. Let me tell you right now, and I mean this with every fiber of my being. If I had a feeling that there was a chance that me, and by the way, I don't think either of these men sacrificed their lives. Their lives were taken. To me, there's a difference between sacrificing my life, me voluntarily jumping into a volcano and somebody sniping me. Those are two different things. But just on its surface, if I felt like, genuinely believed that my life could be taken in, say this given moment, but that would elevate all of my people to another level, but my kids would be left behind. They would have to be left behind because it's not necessarily about me and my kids at that time. It's about my people. So if I genuinely believe that, yes, I would risk my life for the advancement of my people. No doubt about it.
Yeah, hey man, I just want to tell you, man, I think we have good dialogues on here. I think this was a good conversation. I appreciate you taking my call, man, but I really appreciate it. I'm not the type to just stay on one side. I listen, so your words do get to me. You know how some people just talk and I think you got that ability too. So you take in, some people just wait to talk, but I think, you got you know how to listen, and I listen. And I think you made great points in this conversation. I really appreciate you, brother.
Hey, I appreciate
you,
sir. CK.
Yes, sir.
All right. That was CK. Yeah, I think I would. Now, again, that's why I'm saying I think. I'm one of these people who you have an idea of what you would do, but you don't really know what you would do until you face with that situation. So I think I would, but I can't say with 100% certainty that I would. Blade.
What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. You said I'm an agent?
I don't think I've ever called anyone an agent. I said
Okay.
you're well, I might have used the term agent. I think I said you're a double agent in the sense that, you be trying to sow confusion and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Where did you get that from? You don't know me like that.
I get that from paying attention to what you say to multiple people. I don't have to know you to pay attention to what you say.
Well, I mean, if somebody come after me, I'm gonna go after them. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but anyway,
that has no effect on anything that we're talking about. That was just a random thing.
Right. But what I'm saying now, I want to chime in on your topic about Malcolm and Martin, but basically about Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
We got to realize they was young when they was in them positions.
Yes, they were.
And both of them really both of them got tricked in that position. And then once they found out the truth, they didn't really know how to get out of it. And once you reveal the truth, that's when people want to do something to you. So, I know we want to blame the white man, this and that, whatever. But we need to blame the people that raised them up in that position and the ones that set them up. And it was other black people. But we don't want to say that.
Well, it all depends on who you're talking about. I can agree with you in terms of Malcolm X. Yes. And I think he was definitely
Martin too.
Martin
too. The Big Six. Martin too. The Big Six set him up. His buddies.
Wait. So just so I'm clear, you believe that people literally put him in that position, knowing that somebody was across the street preparing to kill him?
Yes. If you go back and read his book and look at that movie, he knew he was going to die.
Well, there's a difference between knowing you're going to die. I know I'm going to die one day. There's a difference between knowing you're going to die and me saying,
well, let me put it another way.
All right, have the gun ready. I'm going to have him step out on the balcony at 12:15, and then you take the shot. It'll be a good, clean shot. That's setting somebody up. Whereas I'm not sure if that happened. What evidence do you have genuinely that happened?
They knew they was going to be murdered. They knew they was going to be murdered.
What?
They knew they was going to be murdered. Malcolm knew he was. They kept on calling him, threatening him, telling him. He knew he was going to be.
Well, that's why I said I just about agree with you with Malcolm, but what evidence do you have that people literally set up Dr. King to be murdered that day at that time?
Well, just go back and look at the evidence. I'm
asking you, what is the evidence?
Martin was shot point blank range by a handgun by his buddy. We know. Go look on YouTube. Steve Copley. He'll run it down.
Hold on, I'm asking you, what evidence do you have to back that up?
I just told you.
And you said somebody with a handgun went up in point blank range, shot the man in the throat.
Yeah.
Who?
And how you know with the throat? So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Who did it? Who did it?
Jesse. Come on, stop playing games.
And you have what evidence again do you have to back that up?
I just told you.
No,
you told you. Go on YouTube.
I'm asking you, what evidence do you have? Don't send me to a video. If you know this for a fact, you should be able to say, here are the documents, blah, 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 blah. Don't tell me to go watch somebody else tell me the same thing that you just told me. Just tell me what
you talking about? Ain't you talking about you watched the movie and the movie told you, a documentary told you what you talking about?
But the movie didn't call me and tell me this to be a fact. I watched the movie. You called me to tell me something. I'm asking you, what evidence do you have?
Go look it up.
All right.
So
I'm not going to look that up. I'm not going to look that up. Some stuff, but no, I'm not going to look that up. I think he'd be trying me sometimes. I don't know what's going on. What is going on? You know what? Actually, I will go look it up. Not at this moment. But I will look up any evidence that Jesse Jackson walked up to Martin Luther King with a handgun on the balcony at the Lorraine Motel and shot him in the throat. I might look it up right now. I don't see anything. Just really quickly. Yeah, I don't see anything. Nate said Jesse Jackson wasn't even on the balcony. Well, we don't really know because we don't have, the actual photograph of Jesse with the handgun shooting Dr. King in the throat. You just say stuff just to say it. You just say stuff just to say it. I guess shock value is still a thing. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to. I just be like, where do people come up with stuff? Where do people come up with this stuff? But I will look it up. But I think there was a lot of people on the balcony and on the ground when it happened. I would have think one of them would have saw Jesse with a handgun, walk up to Martin, put it to his, because he said point blank, put it to his throat and pull the trigger. I would think that would have happened. People would have saw that. Like, hey, Jesse, did you just shoot Dr. King in the throat? I would like to think that would, somebody would ask that. Did my eyes just deceive me? Look over there. Oh, I just totally forgot. Oh, boy. Marquetta.
Did you say throat with a K?
Yes, Stoke.
You said throat with a K, like I say Kroger's with an S. Can I ask you something?
You may.
Why don't we trust each other as people?
What do you mean?
Why would we believe? What would make us believe that Dr. King was assassinated by the people standing next to him?
I don't know.
Because I'm looking, and you said Brother Malcolm was murdered, and you know for a certainty that the people around him, because they was calling his house. But the guy who was locked up, when he got out of jail, he sued the New York Police Department for false imprisonment for $25 million. And the cop who arranged his murder said that the people they got locked up didn't do it.
I'm not understanding.
On his deathbed.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm not understanding what you're asking, and I think you might believe that I said something that I didn't say. So can you ask?
We always get into it.
Yeah.
When you say Malcolm was killed, and we know, are you saying Malcolm was killed by people within the Nation of Islam who was standing next to him, who was on the same side of civil rights with him?
I'm saying he was killed by people in the Nation of Islam.
Okay, but what proof? Because I just explained to you the man who got out of prison, who was in the Nation of Islam, suing the New York department, the police department in New York, and his daughter.
Well,
they're suing.
Right. Here is
The police department, wait a minute before you finish. And like I said, there's a cop who on his deathbed confessed that it was them. It was infiltration. It was people from the police department, the FBI, the CIA. It wasn't members of the Nation of Islam. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, there was a gentleman. I don't remember none of these guys' names, but there was a gentleman in the Nation of Islam who was arrested on the day of the shooting. He was identified by witnesses and everyone. As a matter of fact, they grabbed him. The witnesses grabbed him, and apparently they were beating him when the police ended up arresting him. He went on to admit that he took part in the assassination and to name his two co-conspirators who were also members of the Nation of Islam. Now, they weren't the two guys who went to jail for it. He said those two guys had nothing to do with it. He told them that they had the wrong two guys, but later on in his life, he named the two guys who were actually a part of it. Now, maybe I'll leave room that it was so elaborate that they had a member of the Nation of Islam admit to the shooting, because, and he wasn't an agent. Now, again, there were agents who had infiltrated, but he wasn't one of them, according to him. So if
according
he's
to
lying,
him, right?
yeah, so if he's lying, then he just spent a great deal of his life in jail. He admitted that he did something that he didn't do.
Ain't that a trip though? Because when you look at the history of Black revolutionaries, you can look at Fred Hampton. I think the movie is Black Messiah or something like that. Lakeith play in it. He plays the fake friend, the one who comes in and pretends to be part of the Black Panther Party and
Yeah, I never
sympathetic
watched that
to
because
the
that's
goal.
not an American actor.
Oh, well, okay. I feel you. But I know Fred Hampton Jr., and he was really persistent for years to get his father's story told on the big screen. And I think they probably just called on dude for the mass appeal. But I agree, it should have been a Black American. But ain't that something? Even him had somebody come and snitch on him and get him murdered like that, shot 19 times in his bedroom with his wife and child. I mean, ain't that? And then when you look at, like, I'm a court reporter now, and I be watching grand jury hearings. When I tell you they come in twiddling like a bird, okay? Why don't Black people have the type of love for each other? Why are we so hateful to the point that we run each other's names in the ground, and we, when we standing up and try to do something? When you look at Africa, I'm big into the Africa thing. When you look into Africa, for the most part, those countries, once colonialism freed them, if they would have stood up in love and unity, they would have been successful. But instead, it was a bunch of war-mongering dictators, a bunch of narcissistic, egocentric driven, Mbesi, so many of them in Africa that took all the wealth from the people, made inflation really high, worked for the CIA, conspired against their own country. Why are we like that? Why don't we have self-love? Why are we so intent on pushing hatred towards each other? What is up with us?
Well, I reject that we don't have self-love. I reject that. There are some who don't, but I think a good portion of us, a majority of us do. I don't think most of us are, like you said, like that. But I want to go back to the whole Malcolm thing. Are you saying that you? Well, let me ask. Have you ever looked at? Because I know you be deep into the research. Looked at the documents, released by the FBI and all that kind of stuff. And did you see the documentary Who Killed Malcolm X?
I'm going to yes and no. I'm not. It's so many documentaries on who killed Brother Malcolm. And I will say, from my experience, I don't see people who trying to rehab themselves, who are trying to clean up their diet, who are trying to get their lives right, etc., having time to conspire to kill that man. But I'm going to read to you from a CNN article dated November 17th, 2021. It says, a 22-month investigation by Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance's office. Lawyers for the men found that evidence of their innocence, including FBI documents, was withheld at trial.
Yes.
The men were known at the time of killing the civil rights activist as Norman 3X Butler and Thomas 15X Johnson. Those are the ones you're saying are innocent. Now, Aziz addressed the court saying, in part, the events that brought us to court today should never have occurred. Those events were and are the result of a process that was corrupt to its core, one that is all too familiar to Black people in 2021. I hope the same system that was responsible for this travesty of justice also takes responsibility for the immeasurable harm caused to me during the 55 or 56 years. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Now, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, the two names that you mentioned, I don't think those are the two guys who were wrongly convicted of the murder. I think those are the two guys who actually committed the murder. I know Aziz is one of the ones who was wrongly convicted, and the other gentleman whose name I can't remember. So it was two of them that were wrongly convicted, but the FBI knew all along the names, addresses, and everything of the people who actually committed the murder. And yes, actually Cyrus Vance, I think is his name. Is that, am I saying that correctly? He was on the show yesterday that I watched yesterday. And he mentioned that the reason that he took up the case was because of the documentary I'm suggesting you watch. It's titled Who Killed Malcolm X? And he said watching that, the guy who put that together was a self-proclaimed, I'm going to say, historian. And he made it his business to go about finding out who actually killed Malcolm X. And Cyrus was saying that watching that is what led him to launch his investigation and get those
and he
guys
apologized.
Exonerated.
He said, I apologize.
Yes.
He said, I apologize for what were serious, unacceptable violations of law and the public trust, meaning that the government somehow conspired against whoever was accused. We were not there. We don't know to this day. It's still a bunch of hearsay, she say, we say, and documentaries and guessing. But the point is the public trust. The point is the nation. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But you're saying it's guessing and hearsay, which I guess technically it is. But again, Marquetta, if me, you, and another person go commit a crime, you get caught, and then you say, look, it was me, it was Emanuel, and it was whoever this other person is. While that is hearsay, and two other people go to jail for it, and you're like, no, it wasn't Tina, and it wasn't Jordan. It was Emanuel and whoever this other person is. I don't have a problem with believing you, even though it's still technically hearsay.
Point proven. My point is not so much any of that, but why? Why are Black people so hell-bent on whenever somebody says something in the way of reparations, civil rights, justice? Why do we get an itch in our pants to be one-upsmen? Why can't we get along? What is wrong with us to the point that we are thirsty for each other's blood, to the point that FBI, the CIA, or whoever can come in? Because when you think Dr. Martin Luther King's mother was shot by a Hebrew Israelite, he was shot and killed by somebody who identified with that. It's so many stories. It's just terrible. It's so many stories. It's like whenever somebody dare step out of, and it takes a lot of courage to use your voice. Like I would never, people be trying to call me a radio activist. I would never be an activist because of that. Because when you step out like that, it puts a target on your back. Even those closest to you would be willing, just because somebody mentions your name in the news, or because you get a grant, or because you might have a little pool in the streets, that envy, it drives you to murder. And I'm just trying to figure out, why don't we love our images and ourselves and our struggle enough to embrace it and say, you know what, I'm just going to be quiet, even though that person that, like, I love Alicia Reese, but there are some policies that I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm not going to make it my mission in life to every time her name is mentioned that, you understand what I'm saying?
Well,
Why are we like that? What is the root of that?
again, I reject that we are like that. I think you're talking.
Some
I
of
think
us.
it is a human condition. White people do it. Black people do it. Asian people do it. Polynesian people do it. It is a human condition. People do what they do, and I think the mistake is taking that negativity and internalizing it and then applying it to our race exclusively and almost totally. I think
But I'm black.
that's
I'm talking
insidious
about
as
black
well.
people. But I'm not Polynesian. I'm not white. I'm not BIPOC. I'm literally black. And like, do you know who
I
King
think that
Von
makes
is?
it worse.
Do you know who King Von is?
I've heard the name. Who is King Von?
So King Von was a Chicago rapper. He came out. He was probably, we talked about him on your radio show before. He was a serial killer of young people. He had been arrested several times, and finally his karma kind of caught up with him, and somebody caught him lacking and murdered him. And the guy who was next to him, I put a picture of him up on my Facebook page. The guy who was next to him, his whole side of his head got split open, and he survived the wound, but now his head is like sitting down in a slope. His skull, part of his skull is gone because some brothers shot him. And what I'm saying is, as a collective of, again, black people in America, our circumstance is different. And no doubt there are snitches in every race, no doubt. But our circumstances are to the point where, I always talk about that black woman gender side and the fact that we're being killed every 5 hours. But when we look at black males, I mean, did you see, and I'll leave you with this, did you see Bobby Schmurder? Remember we used to talk about him?
No.
And he had that song, Hot N-Word. He said the record company made $200 million off of his song, and he made $200,000 and lost, I think, 7 years of his life in prison. Why are we, I hear y'all talk about Sukiyama and Sexy Red, but I listen to them sometimes. Why are we consuming genocidal, homicidal, maniac music? Not just I'm not talking about in entertainment as far as TV or video games and stuff like that, but I mean the songs that we're singing are telling us to kill each other. And when somebody says something about that, it's a bad thing. It's freedom of speech, and you ain't in the streets. That's a CNN of the streets. It is ridiculous that, and again, Polynesian people, they may have songs of the same sort. Chinese people, they may have songs of the same sort, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us. Like, why can't we, as a group of people, look at ourselves and get to the root of why we're accepting that type of propaganda to be pushed on us and we not push back? Like, where is that? And you can't deny it because it's a very popular form of music. It's trap music. Like, why are we embracing our own genocide? And I'm going to hang up and I'm going to listen to you because, me and you've been talking for 20 some odd years, and you're probably the only person. I love you like a fat kid love bread. I do. But I argue with you at times because you're able to have this conversation, and I'm listening to you offline.
I appreciate you, Marquetta. There's so much to the why, and of course, I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers as to the why. But I do believe that here in America, we're in a very unique situation as black people. We have a very unique history in America as black people. And a lot of our history, at least in my opinion, has been manipulated. It's been manipulation, and I think a lot of it has to do with our history in this nation. A lot of it has to do with our history in this nation and the fact that we have been manipulated since our ancestors got here, or since a segment of our ancestors got here. We've been manipulated, which makes it easy to continue to manipulate. B-Rab.
Emanuel Livingston, what's happening with you, Mr. E-Man?
Hey, what's going on?
I heard you said that we have been manipulated. I kind of disagree with you, Emanuel. I feel like we have been tricked as a black people. We have been tricked, and we have forces against us that we don't see. Now, it might sound like a conspiracy theory to most people and this, that, and the other.
Just so you know, that's
yeah, go ahead.
I think that's probably the working definition of manipulated. Tricked and used by unseen forces to convince you or get you or force you to do something. That's like, yeah.
No, okay. I stand corrected. And you know what? Now that you explained the definition to me, I was wrong, and I do agree, because tricked and manipulated is within the same definition. You're absolutely right. Along with that, it's been like, I'm just going to sum this up real quick, man. Okay. With us building our stuff when we came out of slavery, that stuff like the Black Wall Street and like black towns back in the 1800s, 1700s, them black towns were already built while slavery was going on. That's the stuff that the history that they don't want us to tell us. But when they so-called freed the slaves, they realized that them black towns was doing well, whatever. So they destroyed the black towns in America. And then down by the government has always been an effort to keep the black community down and always manipulate us to spend money on the things they want us to spend money on, and through television, food, commercials, et cetera, things of that nature. That's way fast forward to Martin Luther King in them era with Malcolm X and things like that. Once Blade did say he was correct on something, when they did start to realize that they were being used and manipulated, it was already too late. And the government had no use for them. So both Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were set up by the CIA, the FBI, and the United States government. Now the government this is his record. And they needed help with the forces that was inside of both of their parties.
Okay.
Yeah. So some of the things that Blade were saying was correct. That Martin Luther King was not assassinated by James Earl Ray solely, and he was not assassinated by Jesse Jackson. Now, what the thing was, them people, they were used to point off into another direction of where the shot came from, where the evidence on this, like I said, you could look this up, E-Man. It was, what's that judge name? Not Judge Mathis, but the other black judge. I cannot think of it. Judge Joe Brown broke it down. Like, you look up Judge Joe Brown, email whenever you get some time, and an MLK assassination. He broke it down bit by bit to where he had, I think, I'm not for sure. You might have to look this up and fact check me on this. But I think he had someone who was involved in assassination. They said they had the rifle in the court or whatever, wherever, the rifle that shot Martin Luther King, that it came actually from underneath him somewhere, from an FBI agent, and shot him in the neck. And the people, and I don't know if it was the Echo, but they pointed off into a different direction to confuse the people where the shot came from, and James Earl Ray was just a patsy. Okay, now with Malcolm X, that was set up. They got that whole thing not just on video but on camera. That was set up with some FBI, CIA directors, along with some members of the Nation of Islam. But a lot of people from the Nation of Islam didn't know that. They, like back in the 60s, it was easy to infiltrate things like how they always been doing, manipulating us with money and things of that nature. So when they assassinated Malcolm X, yes, it was the guy you were saying, he had something to do with it, but it was the members of the FBI and the CIA as well, to the point to where that Malcolm X only male heir in his family was from one of his daughters. His only male heir was his grandson. His name was El Shabazz Muhammad. He was not a part of the Nation of Islam, but El Shabazz Muhammad, his bloodline, he knew about his bloodline of what his grandfather did, to the point to where the CIA and the FBI was watching this guy since he was 2 years old. So to make a long story short, back in like 2008, 2009, I know I've been rambling, man, my fault, man. But back in 2008 and 2009, El Shabazz Muhammad, Malcolm X's grandson, he was starting to break things down on what the United States government was doing, to where he had a film festival. You can look this up as well. If you want to write it down, his name is El Shabazz Muhammad, Malcolm X's grandson. To where he had a film festival he went to in Mexico, and I'm allegedly, now this is alleged, maybe the United States government, this is alleged, has something to do with his death because he fell off the balcony. So my point is, to sum it up, my point is that the United States government must keep a foot on black people's neck at all times. It cannot be peace within our community. It cannot be a coexistent nature in our community. Because if we was to go 3 to 4, 2, 3, 4, 5 months in black communities without any crime will be manufactured in our community from black people that's agents of the United States government, allegedly.
All right. B-Rap,
Do you agree, disagree, or?
I'm going to be honest with you. I zoned out for a few minutes, so I missed a portion of what you said.
It's all good.
I think a lot of what you said is, kind of your opinion and some conjecture. It may or may not be true. I don't know.
It's all alleged, but like I said, it cannot, within black people nationwide, the world, they must have a bad guy image, and unfortunately, it's black people that takes that because of the image that's controlled by the media.
That I agree with. Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I'm sorry for rambling. When White Lion called and complained about black on black crime, and White Lion is the type of guy who believes that we commit 80% of the crime, but only 13% of the population. But this the thing, Emanuel, they don't break down all crime statistics when it comes to just crime in general. Even when it comes to homicide, even when it comes to pedophilia, when it comes to rape, when it comes to kidnapping, when it comes to money laundering, all that stuff is led by white people. It's just that the way the country is set up and the way that is go out through history is written in books that they must maintain control, whoever you want to put they is. And we as people, they must keep us confused, not knowing our history. They must keep us as consumers, not spending money with each other. And they must keep us lost, because ain't no way in hell that the hair industry is a $3.3 billion business, but black women cannot make money off that. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So that's all I got to say about that. The black history is, and then like this month, E-Man is getting crazy because it's if you notice what's going on in the media, every black person is attacking each other. Like you see what's going on, E-Man, like throughout black history, and You got Obama.
Wait,
one
what
of
black
Obama's
people are
daughters.
attacking each other?
You have everybody attacking Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp has a good image.
I think people are just sharing their thoughts and opinions. I don't necessarily agree that it's an attack to share your thoughts about someone just because your thoughts may be negative. Like if they like Shannon and they say they like him, that's fine. But if they don't like him, then that's an attack. I don't agree with the connotation there.
He's not doing anything but providing people a platform to speak their mind, and they're attacking Shannon Sharp. Have you ever heard of a guy named Vlad TV?
Yeah.
Vlad TV got the same type of format as Shannon Sharp, where he invites black people on to talk about negative issues and crime committed by blacks to other blacks on television, but they don't never attack Vlad TV. And all Shannon Sharp is doing is having people on. He's not provoking any of this.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you. I've heard people attack Vlad TV. I've heard people talk about him being a racist and laid out stuff. Godfrey, who did work with Vlad for a while, says he doesn't work with him anymore because he's a racist.
You don't go.
So yeah,
Lord Jamar.
People do attack him.
Yes, that's true. And I guess if you attack a black person, I guess we just move the needle more. But it's not to the point where I think, in my opinion, that I don't have the money to even think like how they think, the money to think about the people they deal with, the meetings they go to, the people they have to influence, the type of companies they have to influence to push the needle. But in my opinion, if I was a black entertainer, I would just do mainly black media. I won't do a Vlad TV or nothing like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I won't do anything like that. But our classical music guys, they go to Vlad TV. People who was on classic black television goes to Vlad TV.
Well, I mean, there's a marketing aspect to it. If I can put myself in front of a couple million viewers with one interview, why wouldn't I? And that's why you see people going to Shannon's show, because he can put them in front of millions of viewers and they can, promote themselves, increase their visibility, which, typically ends up in increased revenue, more sales, more people go to your movie, more people, download your music or go to your concerts or whatever. That's why they go there.
No, I understand why they go there. Yeah, you're right, because honestly, Shannon Sharp is partnered with Colin Cowherd. Do you know who Colin Cowherd is?
I know who Colin Cowherd is.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if you knew it either. Anyway,
I don't know a lot of people, so I'm not offended that you asked.
Okay. Anyway, Shannon Sharp is partnered with Club Shay Shay. Is partnered with Colin Cowherd. So either way it goes, whether you're a racist or not, you're going to have to break bread with a white person. If you're in media, entertainment, music, movies, etc., television, you can't avoid not breaking bread with the white person or with the gay person or with the transgender person. That's just what it is when it comes to the entertainment industry.
All right.
This is what it is.
B-Rap, I appreciate your call.
Hey, man, thank you for letting me vent, man. I appreciate it, man.
All right, that was B-Rap. He's got some interesting thoughts and ideas. I agree with some of them. Some of them not so much, and some of them, I did zone out for a minute. So some of them I didn't even really hear. But all right. Y'all, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It's really late. I got this little baby sitting here being very patient. So I want to go get something for her to eat. And Nate,
Man, what's happening?
Hey, what's up?
First of all, tell me, how did you get here? What is the topic? I'm a little bit confused.
I think I got here because I mentioned that I watched a documentary last night about Malcolm X and who killed Malcolm X.
I did not have paper or a pen with me, so I did not take notes. And right now, I'm drawing a blank on some of the many things that I've heard that I wanted to comment and get your opinion on. But one thing did stick out that Marquetta Denise said that I wanted to chop it up with you about. So, if I understood her correctly, Marquetta said, and these are my words, not hers, I'm paraphrasing. Basically, black people are the only people who attack each other, and or at least we the only people that she care about who attack each other. And she couldn't understand why we did it. And then she used an example of Alicia Reese and how every time her name is mentioned, certain people have something negative to say. Now, first of all, I don't know that it's fair to compare people plotting to kill Malcolm X or somebody else with somebody having some unfavorable comments about Alicia Reese. So, granted, I'm going out on the ledge here, but actually, I want to share something with you deep from the bottom of my heart that's actually true that I've been wrestling with, and I'll go back and read what the commenters say.
All right.
But before I do that, I got to ask you a question. Do you ever, dude was trying to give you Malcolm X's grandson's name. He wanted you to write it down, obviously. Do you ever, go back and rewatch the afternoon experiment and be like, oh, somebody asked me a question, or somebody gave me a reference, or somebody suggested I go watch something? Do you ever go back and watch these shows, whether it's for your own good or just to refresh your memory on something somebody said or suggested?
Yes, I do.
Very interesting. Now,
just for the record, I didn't write down the grandson. If I don't write it down, I don't remember it. So I probably don't, unless, it just pop in my head or whatever. But yeah, from time to time, people say, go do this. And yes, I will.
I happen to, and I ain't trying to change the subject. I'm trying to go to this, what I figured the topic was sort of, let's review a little Black history and especially as it pertains to Malcolm X and where we went right and where we went wrong and who killed him and all that good stuff. I had saw that documentary, by the way, that you were talking about. Very interesting. Now, I want to bring that to Marquetta's question. I'm one of them people who almost every time I hear the name Alicia Reese, it's the way I hear it and it's what's being said about her. It makes me want to either start, if I'm in a chat room or whatever, I start wanting to type. And it's because people are so unfair. That's reason number one. Did you happen to hear them attacking Stephanie Summerall Dumas the other day on the Buzz? Were you listening?
I was.
I guess that was yesterday. See, it's so unfair. And you and I worked in radio now. They'll say, these ain't no setup calls. People just happen to want to come in and dog her out. And all the time, they never seem to happen to want to call and dog out Alicia Reese. They always just happen to wake up and want to call and dog out Stephanie Dumas, even though Alicia's the one who's up for re-election and Stephanie's not up for another 2.5 years. I just find that curious. Now, I also love Alicia Reese. Whether you believe it or whether the people listening to me believe it or not, I love Alicia Reese. I think she is, I guess you would consider her part of my generation, our generation. I think she is one of the best politicians locally, being Cincinnati and really all of Ohio. The best politicians that we've had, I wouldn't say second to none, but she's definitely up in the top 5. She has a way of putting stuff together and making people believe that she's like the best thing since sliced bread. And so I really love Alicia. I also love black people. And I hate to see a black person who I love and who I believe has potential shoot themselves in the foot. And so probably a week ago, Lincoln was saying something at the end of his show. I think they were talking about Stephon Pryor. I think you were in the chat. And it's funny how people who listen online and people who listen on the air, they don't hear the same things. And sometimes even I forget, like, that was said in the chat. It didn't go out over the air. So for those of you who don't listen to Lincoln Ware's show and who don't listen online, you listen over the air, let me share with you. So I worked hard to convince the Buzz to let Stephon Pryor call and to give Lincoln, to verify that Lincoln had the authority to put him on the air, right? I think most people who are listening to us, they know that. Now, there was a question raised by a certain lady who asked me not to mention her name no more about whether or not I did that. Specifically, these people went on, this young lady went on with Lincoln after Stephon was given authority to call back on, and he went on the air, and this young lady, whose name I will not mention, said Nate didn't have nothing to do with him getting back on the air. Okay, fine. So Alicia Reese has potential. I love Alicia, and I love black people. So if I see someone who I love and admire and who has potential about to shoot themselves in the foot, and I've said that about because a few days later, I asked Lincoln, I said, well, Lincoln, if you don't have a problem with me going and writing this letter to the white man over at the Buzz, and you didn't have a problem with Stephon Pryor being put back on the air, and I didn't have nothing to do with him getting put back on the air, what's your beef? And Lincoln said, out of his mouth, and again, I'm paraphrasing, he said, the problem is, why you have to get involved? Why do you have to write the letter, Nate? You didn't have to. You always do that. You're always getting involved. Well, I also like and love and admire Stephon Pryor, believe it or not. And even if I didn't, this man is doing what a whole bunch of people wouldn't do, which is running against a well-financed white incumbent to represent black people in a traditionally black neighborhood. So, hell yeah, I'm going to be on Stephon Pryor's side, and I'm not going to be on that white Democrat who just moved into the district so that he could get that political position. He should have stayed out there in Amberley Village or wherever he was at and ran and became a state representative out there. But he didn't. Why? Because it's easier to go down here and get these black folks to vote for me, Mr. Great White Hope. Now, here's why I do what I do a lot of times. Dale Mallory is, I consider him a friend, him and his whole family. Tamaya Denard, I consider her a friend. She was up and coming. I thought she had a bunch of potential. Kelly Prather, I consider her a friend. I love Kelly Prather. P.G. Sinfield, not my friend, but I recognize that he had a lot of potential, and a lot of black people liked him, and they believed that he was going to do what was in the best interest of black people. So if I see Alicia Reese going down the road that Jeff Pastor, Kelly Prather, Dale Mallory have went down, what should I do as a concerned black man? Should I just shut up and watch her shoot herself in the foot? Watch her do the wrong thing? Or should I speak out? Should I try to caution her? Should I say, hey, Alicia, you're about to fall into the trap? Or should I be quiet like the guy who just called you? And then after they done took Alicia down, calling with a bunch of conspiracy theories, man, it was the CIA and the FBI and the local police. They hated Alicia Reese. They conspired against her, and they brought her down. What should I do? I say I should speak out. Now, I watched the county commission meeting a couple of weeks ago, and here's what I saw. Alicia Reese voted to give hundreds of thousands of dollars to Forbes magazine. She also voted to give more than $100,000 to Joe Santangelo for the Cincinnati Music Festival. You say, Nate, what that got to do with what we're talking about today? Here's what it's got to do with. The way they brought Dale Mallory down, somebody gave Dale Mallory some tickets to an NFL game. Dale Mallory took the gift. Dale Mallory didn't report it. And therefore, they said, Dale Mallory, you just committed a crime. Now, unless you're a dummy, Alicia Reese can't vote to give over $100,000 to Joe Santangelo and then take some free tickets for her and her daddy and her brother or her campaign people or for nobody and then go get them, use them free tickets. That's a gift. It's illegal. They take it for granted that we can get these greedy black people. I'm generalizing, yes. And I've seen Alicia do some very questionable things. At the meeting where she voted to give Forbes over $100,000, guess what Alicia said? She said, well, I believe that in exchange for getting this money, Forbes ought to have to write a favorable article about the county. In fact, they ought to have to write it about what she said she founded, the Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame. Don't you get? Now, her fans are blinded. We don't see nothing wrong with that. That's quid pro quo. We don't see nothing wrong with a quid pro quo. We don't see nothing wrong with Forbes, with her voting to give Forbes some money, and then her saying that she founded something, and then saying, in exchange for the money that I'm giving you, I want you to do something for me or for the county. They don't see it. And until Alicia is arrested and indicted and thrown in jail, then they're thinking, oh, man, well, they wrong for that. They just targeting her because she's black. Now, so here's what I've been wrestling with.
All right.
Do I, as a concerned black man who loves Alicia and sees all the potential in her, should I snitch to the county prosecutor and say, hey, you got a prosecutor sitting up there when Alicia Reese is saying this stuff? Are you advising her? Are you giving her legal opinions? Are you saying, hey, Alicia, you can't do that? Hey, Alicia, you can't do that. Hey, Alicia, you can't have no Black Music Walk of Fame and y'all not keep no records and y'all keep going to solicit all this money from Procter & Gamble and whoever else. Should I do that? Should I write to the feds and say, get after her, investigate her for her own good? Or should I just sit back like the rest of these dummies? I'm sorry. Y'all not dummies. But y'all aggravate me so much with the Reese Cup fans. What should I do? That was a very long question, but I really do want to answer from you, and I'm going to go check in the chat. I just think we say because we don't want no black-on-black attacks, because we want everybody to be in unity. What y'all really saying is we want y'all to shut up. We don't want y'all to hold us to account. We don't want y'all to give us the heads up. Hey, man, don't take that money. I remember they used to do this thing where they would take a vehicle, they would put the keys in it, they would turn it off, and then they would leave the door unlocked. They would have a hidden camera and the police was watching. I forget what they called it. Then, inevitably, the bait car. And black people would go take the bait. If you saw a bait car, would you be right to tell your brother, hey, man, and a couple of episodes, I saw people saying, hey, man, don't go get in that car. And then the trick was, once you got in the car doors would lock and you couldn't unlock it. And the police would come and arrest you. It was a setup. I'm saying to y'all, those are just two examples with Forbes and with the music festival. Y'all know Alicia going in exchange for giving that money, she's going to demand that she gets to jump up there as the president of the county commission. She's going to demand that she gets to speak to that crowd. She can't resist it. And we should be, black people should be, Hamilton County voters should be saying to Alicia, don't take the bait.
Well,
Don't take no free tickets. Don't get up on stage. Don't do it. Or if you want to do it, don't vote. When they get ready to vote for the money, say, hey, I got to abstain. When they get ready to have the discussions, I can't be involved in them. Because I know when that music festival comes, I'm going to want some money and some gifts.
Here's
Yes,
my
sir.
answer to your question. What should you do? Or what should people? I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell nobody what to do. I can tell you what I would do. You give a warning. Then I believe you try to pull people to the side privately and say, hey, you're setting yourself up for a fall. Don't do it. You maybe do that once or twice. Then you do what you do publicly. You say, hey, I'm trying to tell y'all she's setting herself up for a fall. Somebody talk to her. And then you let the chips fall where they may. And what'll happen is people will be mad when it happens, but ain't nothing you can do to stop it from happening. And sometimes you just got to let people suffer the consequences of their bad decisions.
Doesn't that hurt the race? If you're a race man and you really love black people,
no.
How does it not hurt the race for our best and brightest to get caught up in some
I don't think it hurts the race because I think I'm different than most people. I don't think that the actions of every individual black person is a reflection on the race. And I don't believe that if you won't take decent counsel, maybe because you don't like that person or whatever the case may be, I don't believe you're necessarily one of the best and the brightest and a so-called credit to the race. I think it's best to move those people out of the way so that people who are gonna do right and take wise counsel, they can be put in place. So I think it's, one of those things where, sometimes you gotta, cut off the with a banana. Sometimes when that banana get brown, you gotta cut off the brown part of the banana to save the rest of the banana.
This is my last question, and it's a quick one. If you had the ear of Jesse Jackson, would you advise? He has to have heard all these wild speculations about he is the one who murdered Martin Luther King, or at least he had something to do with it. He wore a tie or something. I forget what they said. He had a hat on and he moved it a certain way and gave a signal. Now we're hearing guys talking about he had a handgun and he shot up and shot him in the neck, and all the rest of the people around him didn't see it, or they didn't tell, or maybe they was in on it. I don't know what the whole theory is. He didn't flush it out. If you had the ear of Jesse Jackson, would you tell him to do what he's been doing all these years, which is basically ignore this? My record speaks for itself. And this goes back to the conversation you had about Fannie Willis and wanting to defend yourself. Or would you advise him, man, you got to speak on this. Go on these days we got podcasts, we got radio shows, we got you could have some cameras and do a own documentary. Would you advise him to address this, or just leave it alone and let history sort of weed out all these conspiracy theorists?
Well, first things first, if I had Jesse Jackson's ear, first thing I would do is I would say, no, Jesse, don't shoot Dr. Martin Luther King in the throat. That's first. But let's assume that didn't work and we was where we are now. I would suggest that he do what he's done. You know what I'm saying? You didn't shoot him. You didn't set him up. You let him do you do what you do. Jesse done made a pretty good life for himself and his children, and you let people say what people gonna say, because you can't stop people from saying what they want to say and believing nonsense. So
You don't think this tarnishes his reputation, at least among the friends of black people who hear this stuff and they say, well, he didn't respond. He never denied it. He didn't specifically deny shooting him in the throat, so it might be something to it.
well, but here's what I believe, and again, this is for me. Jesse might not feel this way, but there are people who believe terrible things about me, because there are people who say terrible things about me. If you are one of those people who are willing to believe those terrible things about me, I don't care what you think about me, because you'll believe whatever you hear without asking me. Jerry Tolliver and Nathan Ivey. It's 2024. I believe in calling names. Jerry Tolliver and Nathan Ivey spread vicious rumors about me. Now, I know Jerry believed it to be true, and Nathan was just a jock rider, hanger-oner type of person. But I've run across people over the years who they told this to, who believed it. Once I realized that's who you are, I don't care about you anymore. You didn't have the whatever to come to me and say, hey, is this true? And so I would say to Jesse, the people who want to believe that nonsense, let them believe it. Don't worry about what they think. As long as you know who you are and the truth. Those are, like you said, those fringe people. And you can't concern yourself about what the fringe people think about you when you know who you are.
You know I'm coming to town the first week of March to handle that family affair that we're having. Would you like me to arrange a sit-down with you, Lincoln Ware, Tamiko, the lady who I've been asked not to say, the real Terrence Howard, and some other people? Would you like me to clear the way and, if necessary, crack some heads on some people down there so you can have peace in Cincinnati?
Well,
I'm your big brother. You know I'll do it for you.
I think I have peace in Cincinnati. I don't need a sit down. Look, I'm not beefing with Lincoln. I told the truth. He didn't like the fact that I told the truth, because he has to be liked. And he believes that if I tell the truth, people gonna hear the truth, and then they might not like him. And so he did. And I'll be honest, I've never had a man say to me what he said to me in the way that he texted. Don't ever again speak to me ever again in life or whatever. I've only heard women say that, but that's just kind of an aside. I don't need a sit down. He needs to come to grips with what he did and just be okay with the fact that people gonna tell the truth. And I'm gonna tell you, and I'll tell everybody right now, I don't like bullies. Okay? I don't like bullies. And all I did was the same thing that I've been doing since junior high school. When I see somebody getting bullied, it's an old tactic of mine, actually. If I see somebody getting bullied, I was the one who would jump in and start talking about the bully so that they could switch their attention to me and leave that innocent person who was, maybe not equipped to defend themselves as well as me. They get to walk off. I'll take whatever the bully got because I'm not bullyable. So that's all I did. I saw him bullying Raven. I didn't like it. And I said what I said, which is 100% the truth. He had people call corporate to try to get me fired. That got his attention off of Raven for a minute anyway. It got his attention off of Raven and on to me. And, maybe he'll look at it and he'll say, is this really worth bullying her to get a laugh on air or to make people think bad about her or whatever? And he'll stop doing it.
So do you like or dislike the fact that I wrote to certain people and urged them to put Stefan Pryor back on the air?
I'm 100%
Would you say
with
Stefan was being bullied?
I'm 100% with that. I believe, sometimes people need other people to advocate for them. And I don't have a problem with people advocating for other people who, again, may be in a position where they can't advocate for themselves the way that they would like to.
I'm out of here. Thank you.
All right. I know that was a lot. That was a lot. But I don't like bullies. I don't like bullies. And especially, you know what I'm saying? You look, I'm gonna tell you. If you deal with a past bully of mine, and I know his tricks, I'm gonna give you a heads up. Period. I'm gonna give you a heads up. And when I heard the whole, well, she not gonna produce my show right because she want my show. It's hard to produce the show when you want to have the show. I don't know how many of y'all remember him saying that to me over and over and over again. And I knew what was coming after that. So if you out on the street, you dealing with one of my past bullies, and he shoved you down to the ground, and I see he shoved you down to the ground, and then you get up, and he punched you in the nose, and I see him punch you in the nose, and you trying to walk away, and he's still there, I'm going to tell you, hey, the next thing he going to do, he about to trip you up from behind. Just be aware, this is his next move. Oh, he going to kick you in the nuts. That's his next move. Oh, he going, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you the heads up. This is the next move. Just be aware of it. Be aware that this is the next move. So that's what I did. I'm comfortable with it. He's mad about it. I don't care. That actually makes my interactions on his show more fun. For me, maybe not for anybody else, but for me, it makes my interactions more fun. I'm not mad at Lincoln Ware, but, you know, sometimes somebody got to step up. Whether you like Raven or whether you don't like Raven, you don't think she should be on the air as much, or, you know, you don't think she played the right music or whatever. There is a way for that to be handled. I was there. I know there's a way for that to be handled behind the scenes and not be on the air and on the live trying to bash that woman, trying to dash that young woman's hopes. There's a way to do that. And it ain't on the air repeatedly putting her down and encouraging your audience to do the same. I didn't like it. But when I heard that one comment, she can't produce Michelle because she wanted, I didn't like that because it struck a chord with me because I heard that. I didn't like it. I don't like bullies. Now, I got nothing, you know, and I tell you, I still like Lincoln. I think the show is entertaining. You know, we not beefing. He beefing with me. But I'm not beefing with him. I said what I said. It was the truth. Leave her alone. If you got beef with her, there's a process. Go to Dan. Say, Dan, I don't think she's doing a good job on my show. Maybe she needs some training. There's a whole segment of Cincinnati population right now who don't like that woman. They don't like her not because of what she does, but because their leader encourages them to not like her. I don't like that. Carlton says he's not bullying her. Stop. He is. Well, I mean, he's probably not now at this moment, but he was. He was. If you don't see it, that's on you. I was there. I know how things go. He was. And it wasn't necessary. And I don't like it. So yeah, I gave her a heads up. This will be his next move if you're not careful. And he didn't like it. But I don't care. Leave that woman alone. when she did my show, she made mistakes here and there. She made mistakes here and there. When you know what I'm saying, we humans. As if he don't make mistakes. As if he don't make mistakes. But then he get mad when you call his mistakes out. But it's okay for him to go on air and do it. And laugh when people do it. And act like it ain't no big deal. That's bullying. It's bullying. If you got the pull, you could get her off your show. But see, that's the whole thing. It ain't even just about his show. Because she do a show on the Wiz. And of course, she do a show on the weekends. So the move ain't even necessarily to get her off of his show. The move is to get her fired. Well, I can just snatch your dream because I've been here for 50 years. I've been doing this for 50 years. I don't like that. Even if you want to get her off your show, you go to Dan, you say, Dan, she not up to it to do my show. Why don't they can they use her more over there on the Wiz? Or, have her do her weekend show, but just not do my show? But no, you want to damage her whole reputation. Make her out to be some kind of monster and incompetent individual and all of that kind of stuff. I don't like that. I don't like it. And again, like I said, I knew where it was headed. So, no, I don't need to sit down. I don't need to sit down. I would do a sit down. I'm not against it. But I don't need it. But I would do a sit down. If you put together a sit down, I love to sit there and be like, you gonna deny what you admitted to me to my face? But that's it. I don't like bullying. I'm not beefing with him. I'm not, I don't hate him. I just hope he stopped doing that. If he stopped doing that, then I go back to whatever. I don't care. But that's it. Just that got to me. I don't like that. And again, I know because I was there and I know how I feel. And I'm different in that, like I keep saying, I'm not bullyable. I'm not bullyable. What I mean when I say that, bully walk up to me, you could beat me up 100 times. I can't beat you. I can't beat you. But you're not intimidating me. You're not taking my lunch money. You're going to have to kill me to get this lunch money. I'm going to get some licks in. And after a while, you're going to figure, is it worth it? Well, all I got to go through to try to get the lunch money, is it worth it to try to bully this dude? It ain't even worth it. Let me just leave him alone and go bully somebody else. So sitting there, I was never one that, you're going to take my confidence. You're going to strip my fight out of me. I don't know, sound crazy, but I feel like I was created to fight. The fight is in me. It's been in me for as long as I can remember. I ain't never going away. So I wasn't bullyable. But I don't like that other stuff. Hello?
Hey, can I have 2 more minutes?
I got to go. I got the little baby. She got to eat.
All right.
All right.
Well, I know me and Marquetta, I think she's got me blocked. So I can't see what she says and she can't see what I say. I was trying to respond more fully to her question. But I'll take it that she can probably has an alternate account since she was blocked by the buzz. And she can read what I wrote. All right.
All right. All right, y'all. I got to get out of here. It is 6:15. Why do y'all make me stay late? Why do y'all do that? Y'all wrong for that. Just so y'all know. Y'all are wrong for that. All right, y'all. I got to get out of here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And I think I needed to get that off my chest. think I needed to get that off my chest. So I guess I'm glad Nate brought it up. But that's it. I'm gonna go feed the little baby. I got some other stuff to do. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Until next time, be the reason somebody smile, all right? I'm out, y'all. Peace.